want to welcome everybody to Aging Gracefully, where we do adaptable and accessible yoga for everyone. I'm going to move to my chair. We'll get started sitting in a chair, or you may choose to sit on the floor. So let's place our hands on our thighs, elbows gently rest at the sides of your body. Sit comfortably with your knees directly over your ankles, your shoulders directly over your hip joints, and your eyes gazing at the tip of your nostrils. Begin to notice how the body begins to expand and contract in the area that is just below your rib cage, the area that you call your belly, your abdominal region, the area right above your navel center. Notice whether your breath feels quick, fast. Does it feel choppy and jerky? Or does it feel smooth, rounded, longer than your normal breath? This is something that happens when we begin to concentrate and focus our attention here at the navel region. When we focus our attention on our breath. Yoga is considered a mind-body connection because you're connecting the vrittis, the thought waves of your mind, into the concentrated awareness of your physical body. But in our physical body, there is a mechanism. There's a mechanics, if you will, to your breathing. Keeping your hands on your thighs or gently take your hands to your belly. Continue to watch, to notice and sense the expansion through your inhalation. And the gently pulling in, the gently contraction of the exhalation. And purposefully slow down your breathing. So elongate your inhalation. Elongate your exhalation. Don't go beyond your personal capabilities, which I think would be sort of something you can't do anyway, right? So if your exhalation you start to have trouble exhaling, shorten your inhalation so that your inhalations and your exhalations are about the same amount of time. You begin to notice the eyes gently wishing or wanting to close. Allow that to happen. Move inside you. Begin to sense you. And we want to, in the beginning of our practice, if you wish to continue to keep your eyes closed, please do so. And if you do, periodically, you want to open your eyes, that's fine. You're not cheating. There's no cheating in yoga. It is just what you need to do. And begin to journey into moving your sit bones forward and back. So you're rocking on your butt, if you will, but you're really rocking on the two bones the ischium tuberosities. These are known as your sit bones, right? And where you place your sit bones has a lot to do with what is happening in your legs and what is happening in your spine. And begin to rock a little bit more forward and back. So if you need to, if you're sitting on the back of your chair, begin to come forward a little bit. And you'll begin to notice that the lower abdomen begins to contract as you exhale and begins to open as you inhale. So if your hands have been on your thighs, place your hands right under the rib cage. Your little finger might reach all the way down to your hip joint. And you'll notice that every inhalation, there's an expansion of your fingers, and every exhalation, there's a contraction, there's a pulling in. Notice your breathing. The slower your movements, the slower your breath, the quieter the mind becomes. This is an exercise to help you teach you not only range of motion in your body, but also concentration of the mind. Now place your hands at your heart center and begin to move. Continue to do everything that you've been doing, but move now, the sit bones, and moving from the heart. So now you can feel your shoulders and shoulder blades moving. Your head may even move. So now your entire spine, from the top of your spine and that goes into the brainstem of your head, down to your sit bones, the entire spine is moving. Last one. Place your hands gently at your thighs and the sides of your ribs. No more movement. Notice the sensations in your body. You're welcome to stay seated, or you can come into standing. Let's just move the arms forward and back. Put a little bend in your arms. Let your fingertips come up to the ceiling. Do a few more. And then let the arms dangle at your sides. I'm going to take my little jacket off today. I'm going to hang it on the back of my chair. All right, getting a little warm for movement. Move away from the back of your chair so that you can feel the lower back lifting out of your pelvis. And begin to journey into moving your right leg wherever it needs to go to lift the left leg. Okay, so how do we do this? Contract the navel center to the spine. Feel the spine lengthening. Feel those ischium bones pressing down into the floor. And notice that you have to contract and pull in between the hip joints and lift the leg up and down. So the leg feels very heavy. Don't try to lean back to get the leg up because you get a kink like I just did. Okay, that's why I don't usually show what not to do. Okay, and you're lifting and lowering. Now, if you have trouble, like some of you do in the SI joint issue, or like I have sacroiliac issues, but I know some of you have sciatic issues, begin to think about placing your hand right at the junction of your hip joint where the thigh comes into the thigh. And press down in there as you lift up. That stabilizes you a little bit more. Okay. And then I'm going to have you straighten that leg. And you can let's straighten the right arm. I'm trying to figure out which arm to straighten. Straighten your right arm and your left leg. And then continue to contract and see if you can lift that leg. It doesn't go too far. And lower. And engage and lift. And exhale, release. We'll do that 3 more times. Inhale, and as you exhale, lift. Inhale, release. Engage as you exhale. Inhale, release. Last one. And bring that leg out. Let's take that leg out to the side. So keep this front leg right where it was. Move your left leg out so that the knee is over the ankle, just to give a little opening. And if you want to move it back and forth, you can. If you want to just keep it there, that's fine. And then just come back. Because sometimes when we work here, if there's some weakness or even tightness, you get a little kink, you get a little tightness, and so that really opens it out, okay? All right, so come back to the other side now. So contract, lift, and lower, lift, and lower. Sometimes it's nice to keep your hands in your belly or on that hip joint because it helps you to remind yourself where you're really working. One more. And then straighten the leg and lift and lower. And so we'll lift left arm, right leg, and lower. Inhale and exhale, lift and lower. Now remember, if your shoulder has an issue and you want to come out to the side, there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to just work the leg one more. Yoga is a very individualized practice. So now we'll take that leg. I'm going to move my block. You won't need the blocks, they're just in my way. Take that leg out. So you get a little opening in the inner thigh. And if you want to move your leg back and forth, feel free to do that. And then come back to center. Then take your legs a little bit wider apart. Turn your toes slightly in. Walk your buttocks back to the back of your chair. And place your hands right on the hip joints. As you contract navel center, begin to feel how the sit bones move backwards as you lean forward and come forward with your elbows on your thighs. So I'm going to go to the side so that you can see what this looks like from the side. My head, my shoulders, and my spine are in alignment. If I go to come down, taking your upper arms into your thighs, push your thighs into your upper arms, and the upper arms into the thighs. I'm still working from my lower body. So I'm not dropping my head as much as my body's coming forward because of my opening of my hips. And stay there for a few breaths. And when you're ready, come on back up to center. Let's make our bodies very long. So slide your sit bones forward, reach your arms up, and stretch one side longer than the other. Get a nice, if you want to go a little bit further over, you can. Bring your hands behind your head. Pull the belly in and begin to contract. You'll feel the lower back moving away from the chair, and you get this nice deep opening. And then just release forward. We're going to do this next practice sitting, engaging both the upper and lower body. Using what we have just done singly, we're going to put that together. So let me demonstrate. So we're going to contract navel center, buttocks, pelvic floor. We get this nice tall lift. We're going to lift our right leg, and we're going to bring our right elbow in. Okay. So it's not lift, it's not this. You know, that might be something you probably did years ago with the Y. We want to really work to engage here. So there's small movements. You can even bring your hands behind your head and just bring your elbow or your shoulder, better yet, rather than thinking of the elbow, think of the collarbone or the shoulder, bringing that towards it. So you'll see there's not a deep, it's not like a full movement. You know, that might be too much. It's just a little movement. So whether you have your hands by your side, you can even just touch, giving you many variations here. I'm not trying to confuse you, but because we can't see each other face to face right now, I'm giving you many options to think about what is right for you. Is it, keep going if you've been working, collarbone to opposite knee. Make sure you're not bringing that knee in, it's just lifting up, okay? Is your arms out at your sides, or maybe you're touching with your opposite hand. Okay, we'll just do a few more. I know you've been doing this for a while now. One set more. Okay, last one. Now really come forward, open up your legs, and rock your toes in and out. Okay. And then bring your soles of your feet together. So this is where I know many of you have taken your blankets, your throw pillows, or your block and placed them on the block. And you get this nice opening here. Now contract the navel center to the spine, lifting through the heart. And I want you to visualize your inner thighs moving to the outer thighs. Got that? So you're moving the inner thighs to the outer thighs. Then I want you to also think about, when you exhale, taking your fingers or your awareness of your mind from your hip joint down your thigh to the center of your knee. So we've got two actions going. There's an opening here and there's a lengthening here. So I'm really sitting forward. All right. So my sit bones are moving back. I'm lifting up. I've got this nice neutral spine here, and I got a beautiful little hip opener. Great. Okay. When you're done, take about a couple more breaths before you're done. And then when you're done, remove that. We're going to come standing. We're going to use the back of our chair, or the seat of the chair. Some of you may do this sitting. We're going to do a forward bend. All right. So from here, I'm going to have my other block. Got all my props in my way today. All right, bring your hands into prayer position. Inhale your arms out to your sides. Halfway rotate from the wrist. And then when you go to exhale, again, rotate from the wrist, turning your thumbs down towards the floor and maybe back to the wall. Inhale, turn your thumbs, palms up, thumbs back. And just do that a few times. The next time, bring your arms into goal pose, elbows in line with your ear, palms facing in. We're going to come into a little forward bend. If you want to use your chair, it's there. Pull the belly in, bend through your knees, take your hands to your thighs or onto the chair. If you're using a chair, your fingertips can be pointed forward towards the back of the chair, or rotate your fingertips in with your elbows out. This gives you a nice opening in the collarbones. Pull the belly in and breathe. So whether you're here or here, doesn't matter. Okay. Take your arms now out to the sides. Use your legs to come all the way up. Let the fingertips touch and exhale down. I would like to do lunge today with the chair. If you are somebody who cannot find, you don't have good balance, you can put your chair against a wall. I'm going to show you a variety of things. One, you can put the chair against the wall and hold the back of the chair and put your right leg up on the chair to come up into high lunge. Okay. I stepped back because I was too close and I would get a cramp in my thigh. For those of you who are unable or unwilling at this moment to do this standing, that's no problem. What we just did before, you can also do. So let me just show that. Why don't we all try this before we come to try standing in the chair lunge. Let's all come back to our chair for a minute. Use your trusty strap. Wrap the strap around your thigh. Take your wrists to face each other and have your thumbs pointed out towards away from your body. Again, contract navel center and lift. So you might be here or you might be here, keeping the collarbones open. This would be a sitting lunge. If either of those are too challenging for you, and you have your blocks, your blankets, your pillows, whatever, you can stack them up and raise your leg so that you get this opening in the hip joint. Okay? So a variety of ways today to do the same posture. You choose the one that's right for you. We're going to start with the right leg. So I'm going to do it from a chair. You may choose to do it from sitting. So we're going to stand and face the chair. We are all pulling the belly in. Now, tailbone extends downward. If you're sitting in a chair, you're in that same position we have been throughout class. If you're using the chair, you're going to step onto your left leg and lift your right foot. So your right foot is fully engaged on the seat of the chair. Your knee is directly over your ankle, and you're pressing into the back leg with this contraction in the navel center. You're comfortable there. Bring your hands into prayer position, into goalpost. Some of you may wish to raise your arms all the way up, and you're pressing into that back leg, so you're getting some weight bearing on that leg, and you're breathing. When you're ready to come out of this posture, if you're using the chair, you have some unsteadiness, take your hand to the back of the chair and lower the one leg. Okay. And then we'll come to the other side. So now my left knee is directly over my ankle, tailbone draws down, navel center pulls in, hands in prayer position or goalpost. Pressing into the back leg, I have a strong sensation in the front of my right thigh. And I'm noticing my breathing. Is it slow, deep, and even? Or is it short and choppy? Try to smooth out your breath. The next breath, we're going to lower the leg. We're going to come back to forward bend. We're going to walk. For those of you who have your chair handy, use your chair. If you're somebody who does downward dog on the mat, you can feel free to do that. I will stay using the chair. Let's walk our feet back. Feet are hip width apart in parallel. Bend your knees and stick your butt way out behind you. And your head comes between your upper arms. Breathe. Now, some of you will want to stay here, and some of you may wish to go a little deeper. We're going to go into a cobra. Some of you may wish to go into Sphinx here on the floor, but if you have the chair, wrap your hands around the seat of the chair. If you have significant issues and this is not for you, just come up for a moment and have a seat. Walk your feet back. You're going to bring your pelvis right to the seat of the chair. Drop your shoulders, press down to lift up, and then come back. Fingertips come forward to the back of the chair, into downward facing dog, and then inhale and exhale back to a cobra. You could also do this on the wall, which we're going to do in a moment. So if you're not doing this with the chair and you want to go to the wall, you can come to the wall. And we're going to do one more here. Hold for 2 breaths. Getting some arm strengthening, working your wrists, and coming back into downward facing dog. Walk your feet a little closer. Take your arms out to the sides. Come all the way up and exhale down. So a little bit more of a challenging practice this morning. I'm going to move my chair away for a moment. Let us come to a wall. Now, you all have a wall in the room that you are in because you probably have a door. So even if you don't think you have a wall because you have things scattered along your wall, go to your door. And I'm going to use this wall here so that you can still see me. You're going to stand not real close to the wall, not too far, just in a place where your hands can rest gently on the wall. Separate your fingertips. Pull the belly in. Elbows come in. If you have a lot of shoulder issues and you tend to be really tight, it's okay to move your hands wider and bring your elbows up. So you'll notice that the collarbones get broad and open, and the shoulder blades draw down, okay? If you don't have those issues, bring your elbows in to get the same effect. And then we'll inhale into the wall, and we'll exhale away from the wall. So this would be the same practice as we just did from downward dog and cobra, using the cobra chair. We'll get into downward dog in a moment on the wall. So we got this nice work in our wrist and our forearms, strengthening our arms, which is good for osteopenia, osteoporosis, arthritis. Now, if you're somebody who is agitated today from your arthritis, you can make fists and use your fists. So all poses are very accessible and very adaptable. Okay. Now, if you wanted to, now that you've done that for a few times, and you wanted to do a wall downward dog, your hands do need to be wide for this one. Walk your feet back. Walk your hands down the wall, bend your knees, and here we are for a wall downward dog. You want to make sure that your ankles and your knees are somewhat in alignment. You don't want your feet all the way back here. Okay, and then grab a hold when you're done your elbows. Move your elbows towards your forehead. And then release and come back with a flat back or a slightly rounded back, coming all the way up to standing. Wonderful. And then just walk in place. I know a lot of people are walking these days. I hope you are. Hope you're getting out and walking around the block or in a park, being safe. So it's not about how high you can get your legs. I don't care. You know, it's not, I'm going to go sideways again. It's not like, you know, we don't want to be doing this. This looks funny, but seriously, we're just keeping our spine nice and straight and tall and opening in here. Okay. All right. We're going to use our chair again. I'm going to go sideways for you. Take your legs and open them wide. So you're probably on your mat like this. We're going to bend our knees. Push your knees out towards your ankles as you hinge over. Okay. And then place your hands on the chair or your forearms on the chair. Bend your knees, that gets into the hip joints. Stick your butt out. Your toes are slightly pointed in. And if you can contract the navel center, you'll notice that your feet will feel like they're pressing into the floor. Breathe here. And really get into bending and lifting. Inhale, bend, and exhale, begin to straighten. Now, you might not straighten your legs all the way for a variety of reasons. One would be arthritis, joint issues, knee issues, hip issues, hamstring issues. Now stay and breathe. I'm going to put my head right on my forearms. You might want to stack fists. You might want to take your blocks and stack them or your blankets. I'm getting this nice deep opening. And then when you're ready, come back up with your hands, come back with your feet, walk back into a downward dog, just to stretch it out. And we're going to come down to the floor. So I'm coming up to move my chair off of my mat, but if your chair is no longer on your mat, just come down to the floor and have a seat. Okay, let's just sit down on the floor. Sit on the edge of a blanket or against the wall. If you have a wall, I'm going to use my throw pillow. Your legs are straight out and just let them rock in and out, in and out, in and out. And then point your toes by pressing the toes. Make sure your big toes in a straight line. A lot of times we turn our feet out or turn our feet in. See if you can think about the center of your knee being in line with your second and third toe. And then press. And when you press, pull the belly in, feel the hamstring lengthening. And point and press. And point and press. And then shake them out again. I'm going to have you come all the way for the rest of the class. We're going to be on our backs. So whatever you've taken off, you're going to put back on. You have socks that you've taken off or cover up. Have your block and have your strap. we're going to lay on our backs. You might have a pillow under your head. I'd like you to, at this point, just take your arms out to your sides and release your lower back. Release the tailbone from all that work. You might want to rock side to side. I like to lift and lower. And then place your thumbs right below your rib cage. So your fingertips are turned in right at your belly. And begin to move out and into a pelvic tilt. So as you exhale, you contract the navel center to the spine. Your lower back presses into the floor. And if you want to go a little deeper here, press the feet into the floor at the same time as your exhale, pressing your lower back. And just do that a few times. And then we're going to bring our right knee into our chest, wrap our hand around our thigh, or you might have a strap here. I'm going to ask you to have a blanket or something on your left side. So just for a moment here, just breathe. We've done a lot of work in this area. Let go of the tailbone. So don't allow the knee to come really close to the chest. Push it away from the chest. And we'll take just a few more breaths. We're going to do a reclined tree in a moment. So from here, release your hands, place your right foot down. You're going to straighten your left leg. If you need something under your knee, feel free to have that. You might need something. We're going to turn the right foot and turn it in towards the left knee thigh, and I'll get an opening in the inner groin. So if you are somebody who needs a towel, a blanket, a pillow underneath your thigh so that the right hip doesn't flop really far to the right, do that. And then make sure that your left toes aren't turned out, as I'm showing right now. Have the toes pointed straight up to the ceiling. This keeps your left hip in alignment. Now, much like in the beginning of class, you want to feel the inner thigh, your inner right thigh, releasing to the outer right thigh. The inner thigh releases to the outer thigh. This gives you a little hip opener. You also may sense from your hip joint, from your right hip joint, down the inner thigh to the knee, getting longer. So there's two actions going on here. And if I visualize internally my breath as I exhale, I might feel these two actions. And we're just going to take a moment to find our breath. So let's take maybe 6 more breaths here. Letting go as you release on the exhale. And then when you are done those breaths, slowly contract the navel center. And let's do this. Let's contract the navel center. Put your hand on your left hip. Press your hand into the left hip so that the left hip doesn't drop to the left as you bring the right knee back up onto the floor. And then bring the left leg back onto the floor. Bring the right knee back in to the body, keeping your left foot on the floor. And just breathe into the back of your right hip, the back of the right pelvis, the right lower back. Let it release. And then if you wish, let's take our strap onto the right toes, straightening the right foot. Lower the right leg so you feel the tailbone release. This will release the hip joint the back of the leg, the lower back as well. Put a little bend if you have knee issues. And breathe. And then bend your right knee, take the strap off, place both feet on the floor. Back to constructive rest pose. If you want to rock your head from side to side, feel free to do that. When you're ready, bring the left knee in, wrap your hands around your thigh. Push the thigh away from the body. You wish, straighten the right leg. And then place the left foot on the floor and turn the foot in to the right thigh. I'm putting a little eye pillow. You could probably use a little wash rag or a bigger towel or blanket if you need. I'm putting it right at my hip joint. That's where I need it. Where do you need something? Trying to keep my hips square. Breathe here in reclined tree. Put something under your right knee if you need it. So if you know somebody who's not comfortable getting down on the floor, this is an excellent posture to do from their bed, to get a little hip opening. If somebody you know has been sick and they just need to get some movement, some releases. So now your inner thigh is releasing to your outer thigh on the left side. You may feel from your left hip joint down the front of your thigh to your knee getting longer, especially if you exhale, you're contracting and exhaling. When you are ready to come out of this pose, press your right heel of your hand into your right hip joint, and then take your left hand onto the outside of the left knee. Help your leg up, move your foot, place both feet on the floor. Bring your right knee back in toward, or your left knee back into your body, pushing the thigh away from your chest. Breathing here. And when you're ready, put the strap around the top of right underneath the flanges of the toes. Drop your leg down. Extend through the heel and breathe. And bend your knee again. Place the foot on the floor. Back to constructive rest posture. Let's take our right ankle and place it over our left leg for another hip opener. Place your hands on your hips. Try to maintain an equal, what's called a squaring off of the hips. If you need to, you'll put a block underneath your right foot or a blanket or throw pillows. You can even use a cushion from your sofa as a pillow, right? And when you're ready, if you want to go further, you'll lift your left foot, wrap your hands around your left thigh or knee. Drop your shoulders and lengthen that tailbone. So rather than bringing the knees close to the body, feel your legs moving away from your body. And therefore, you might need more under your head. So the chin draws down. And breathe. And now breathe into the back of your right thigh. And when you're ready, release back to constructive rest pose. And let's see what happens when we go to the other side. Placing a block if need be, contracting the navel center, raising your right foot. Keeping the spine nice and long. Feeling the stretch on the back of your right thigh. Letting go and being wherever you need to be right now. Focusing and concentrating on your breath and on the sensations in the body. Just a few more breaths. And then release. And stretch your legs long, stretch your body long. And then bring your knees into the chest, take your feet as wide as the mat, and drop your knees from side to side. If you feel like you want to hold it there, do so. Before we come into Shavasana, you can do this posture without anything or with a block or a bolster or blankets or pillows underneath your tailbone. So it's not on your lower back, and then you will not need anything underneath your head. So some of you can stay right here in a constructive or, restorative bridge posture. You can bring your arms into goal pose. If you are interested, and again, you don't need to have a prop underneath you to do this, you can bring your knees over your hip joints and raise your legs up. Now, if you have a wall, you can do this against the wall without a prop. We're just going to be here for about a minute or so. Just let the blood flow back to the heart. Let the blood be cleansed, healing all the systems of your body, building red blood cells to fight immunity, to create immunity, to fight off infection, and to stay healthy. Breathing in and breathing out. And then finally, bend your knees. Place the feet back on the floor. Remove whatever props you've been using. For final posture, if you need to roll over to your side to get whatever you need, bring your knees in, roll over to your side, come up very slowly. Blankets, pillows, cushions from your sofa, whatever you have. You can even use the chair to put your legs up for relaxation. Put the bolster underneath your thighs if you're whatever you're using. Lay back. Most of you will have something under your head. Bring your arms out to your side for final posture of Shavasana, relaxation pose. Sense how your body is lying on the floor. Are you comfortable? If not, think about what you need to be comfortable. Get up and get what you need. Notice the points of contact on the floor. The back of the head, the tops of the shoulders, the backs of the arms, the back of your hands. Breathe into the fingers and the fingertips. And with each exhalation, allow the arms to rest heavy along the floor. If your arms are too close to your body, you will feel tension and tightness. So find the place for your arms to be able to not only be heavy, but to feel a release within your body. Then draw your awareness from your fingertips back up to the shoulder joint. And bring your awareness to the top of your shoulder blade, to the base of the shoulder blade. And then bring your attention to the front of the body, to your heart center, the center of your chest, right below the breastbone. And as you exhale, soften this place to the space between the shoulder blades, to the back of the heart. And notice the collarbones opening. The left collarbone moves to the left. The right collarbone moves to the right. Notice the top of the shoulder blade, the base of the shoulder blade. And now the space between the shoulder blades, settling the front of the body. As we release the front of the body, we release the back of the body. Breathe here a few more breaths, allowing the front of the heart center to release to the back of the heart center. And then notice the richness of your belly and the expansion and contraction of the lower abdomen. And then draw your awareness to 2 inches below the navel center, between the 2 hip joints. And notice how the hip joints release out. So the inner thighs, once again, release to the outer thighs. And travel down to the backs of the knees and to the ankle joints. And notice how the ankle joints rotate inward, or the heels rotate inward from the ankle joints. And the toes roll out. Breathe into the toes and the toe tips. Notice the heaviness of the entire physical body now. As you breathe into that lower belly expansion, and you breathe out contraction, release. Notice how the floor now holds you. As the floor holds you, you are now a witness to your body breathing. Ayom Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Namaste. Begin to breathe deeper into the lower abdomen, getting a sense of your external body once again. Wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. Rock your head from side to side. Slowly feel the need to stretch. And then bring your knees into your chest. Roll over to your side. Bring your hands to your heart, turn to prayer position. Namaste.